Okay, hello everybody. Today's date is April 21st, 2025. My name is Leslie Williams. And I know the following is going to sound a little bit peculiar. Just trust me, as long as I remember to, I'll make about a 10-minute statement about what I'm getting ready to say in the third or fourth video dedicated to this video series, so you'll thoroughly understand it. I'll give you a short hint about it though. You can go to YouTube search box. Oh, hold on a second. You can go to YouTube search box and type in at YouTube search box um, the movie North Side 777 with James Stewart. Okay? Then you can also remember the word knot theory. Now, I'm completely aware this sounds a little bit peculiar since I'm not going to be giving you any detailed statements about why North Side 777, the movie itself, and why the term knot theory is being mentioned. Well, let me just put it to you this way. Today being the 21st of April, 2025, the number 21, if you were to add 3 sevens together, you'll get 21. And is as unusual as this might sound, it's just my way of kind of like throwing a under the border, let's just say under the border jab to the demonic horrors who have done every crime that I've endured through this crime. It's my way of sealing to them that yes, even though it's not some type of mystical or even happen chance coincidence, but I will tell you this, folks. Just hear me out, okay? I will tell you this, that I have been applying Northside, let's just put it to you this way, a protocol that I implemented back in 2003 in Michigan. I developed a protocol in 2003 that I have always mentally associated to knot theory and some information that I took from the movie Northside 777, which is directly connected to a set of protocols of entrapments that I've been extremely successful, through God's grace, of course, in entrapping not only many of the colluding partners connected to the crimes I've endured in at least 4 states, mainly Connecticut, San Diego 2006, California 2007, absolutely. San Diego since 2011 up to this date, and let's see, Tennessee is the least one. I try to keep Tennessee out of my exposures for personal reasons, but I absolutely do have some information that would absolutely tie this crime directly to Tennessee. But let me just put it to you this way. I developed some protocols that I took from ideas that I got from the movie Northside 777. And these protocols have been extremely effective in me entrapping these demonic vile whores and many of their cooperating partners in order to improve that I was always telling the truth concerning me being a victim of this crime, including before I even discovered the name of it, by its name online on June 9, 2009. So, now knot theory will be explained in either the third or fourth video of this video series, so you can see how knot theory ties in with the entrapment protocols that I derived from the movie Northside 777. And on occasion, I have absolutely, on occasion, I have even caught evidence on dates that have 2 or 3 sevens in within their any part of the number of the date. Now, I'm aware this sounds a little bit funny. Trust me, I'm completely aware of it. But you need to also remember, folks, if you had any idea what I have put up with in the totality of this crime being perpetrated against me, my life, my health, every aspect of my life, my well-being in every form, in every sense of the word, you would understand that, hey, look, just trust me, over time, you'll understand the significance of what I did in developing this protocol, implementing it, being extremely successful in it through God's grace. And it's just my way to jab back at the wild animals who have perpetrated the crime that I have been enduring, absolutely, and still do to this date. You wouldn't believe what I endured today. You just literally wouldn't believe it. This particular video series has a specific subject matter, and I'm going to literally fly right into it in about 2 seconds. I got to get up and do something here real fast. Okay. So what I'm going to talk to you about in this first and second video, the 2 videos are going to be made today of this video series, and then I'm going to expand on the information disclosed in video 3, 4, and maybe even a 5th video over the coming days. So when I make 3, 4, and 5 videos, when I make the remaining videos dedicated to this video series, I'll just say that this is video 3, 4, and 5, dedicated to the video series that was started on Easter Monday, 2025. Now, I'm gonna make statements in this video that's going to disclose the subject matter, and I want you to immediately know that these statements will also be drawn out and expanded upon in the other videos dedicated to this video series. And there's going to be a lot, at least for the time being, that's not going to be able to be exposed in this at least 5-part video series, because this crime is so massive and intrusive that you couldn't even explain in its totality concerning the subject matter, even in a 10-hour video. So I'm going to try my best to condense details just so I can get enough of some good meat and potatoes out, okay? And so you can walk away with a comprehensive understanding, and here I go. Now, folks, there are going to be some brief interruptions in my speech, okay? Some sudden interruptions in my speech because I am enduring in real-time targeting as I'm speaking to you. These wild animals, they never let up. They never let up. So here we go. Now, I would suggest, I'm literally going to give you a minute to get up and go get a pen and piece of paper so you can take notes, and when you got those extra 15 minutes, a half hour, an hour or more, whatever, throughout your every day, on any given day, you can just sit back and say, hey, I remember something she said, I'll take it from the notations, I'll go and research it, and you continue to do that, and over time, the brain will connect the dots. Okay, so go ahead and get up and get a pen and piece of paper, and I'll just wait for you. You're not going to miss nothing. Get up and go get a pen and piece of paper. I'm going to give you a minute to do that, and then I'll proceed to the subject matter. Okay, so it's a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and start. It's a little bit under a minute, but I'm just still going to go ahead and start. All right, now, here, listen very, very carefully and take notes. And you got to want to know the truth concerning this video series. You got to want to know it in order to motivate you to stay with the account and to do research concerning what I state. Now, there is vast information that has been exposed over the years about a technology connected to the criminal program that is known as gang stalking. And this is one of many different technologies that these animals rely on, and it's called the Chatterbox. And ex-CIA scientist Dr. Robert Duncan, who was reportedly killed, by the way, in 2024, and many other scientists and doctors and thousands of very educated victims have exposed this technology over the last decade or more. And we're talking about extremely intelligent people here. We're not just talking about people who ran across some information in a blog and said, wow, that sounds interesting, I'm going to go ahead and expose it. We're talking about people who have done research into this crime for way over a decade. Now, it's extremely probable that more than one different type of acoustic weaponry that these animals have in their toolbox can be used for the criminal use of of what is known as the Chatterbox. So you can research Chatterbox to gang stalking acoustic technologies, gang stalking crimes, Chatterbox acoustic technology, and I'll give you a brief overview. And later on in this video series, I'll expand on my statements concerning it. Now, the Chatterbox is reportedly to be basically nothing but a one way that's reported that it's done is it's basically voice-to-skull technology, and there can be other things that work with it. So I'll give you just some fast examples concerning it. Like, let's say if you got a gang stalking target who's got specific types of non-consensual biomedical implants in them, and I'll just mention a few. They can be speech decoders. And a lot of these technologies, some of these technologies, by the way, were actually meant to be put in people who have different types of paralysis, people who can't talk. So speech decoders, speech synthesizers, Remote neural monitoring also is widely reported to be used throughout the most of this extreme criminal program, which is reported to then allow these animals to decode subbuccal speech, and you'll understand that when you do the research. Now, as a result of different things that can be in play to work with Chatterbox, as an example, let's say you got a victim who is got a neuroprosthetic speech decoder in them. That would afford the and if they got that in them, then there's an extreme likelihood they have all the other types of neuroprosthetic implants in them. That will be briefly discussed probably in an addendum video that I'll probably title assisted technologies that work with this that are reported to work with this information, okay, related to this video series. Okay, so that just look for an addendum video that will eventually be put in the descriptions of these of each video of this video series, so you can get some related information materials to help you better understand some additional things that can be synthesized into what is exposed. So a speech decoder would allow these animals to remotely decode what a victim is literally processing concerning their speech. And so, and by the way, this is one of the biggest things that's reported between that and the subvocal speech deciphering connected to remote neural monitoring. Speech synthesizers could also play a role in harvesting internal vocalizations from victims. It then is reported to go to a supercomputer, which can then crunch that data at the very extremely fast. Many DoD contractors who have exposed this crime are saying that the information taken from a victim is going to the perpetrators literally at the speed of light. Literally. Just trust me, folks. Just listen to what I state and do the research. So it's then decoded, and then the computer is set up with certain specific different types of software algorithms that allow speech-to-text translation. And then what the computer is set up to do, because it works with different types of software algorithms, all depending on what thing that it is, how it's taken certain different informations from victims, okay? And when it comes to this particular thing, what it will do is what is reported that it will do is that it will crunch that speech, translate it into text, and then the computer itself, operating through one of the different software programs, will correlate structured sentences together that mimic the type of speech that everyday people would use. Like, for instance, the vast majority of reports concerning what victims are enduring through Voice to Skull technology. Voice to Skull is the technology reported to be used with the Chatterbox. The Chatterbox is just a description, okay, that is used, okay, to describe that it's basically a artificial intelligence program, okay, that is harassing victims based on what the supercomputer, based on information that is taken from the victim that the supercomputer is crunching, deciphering, analyzing, and then what the computer will do is that it will create structured sentences that mimic the form of statements, okay? And like a statement like, let's say if the victim picks something up, okay, and as a result of that data being crunched on their end, at the speed of light, literally. I know this sounds nuts, just hear me out. The computer will be able to determine what the victim did. And then the computer's software algorithm will create a certain set of short dialogue sets, short dialogue streams, which are basically nothing but structured sentences, and transmit back through the Chatterbox, why did he pick that up? Like, what's wrong with him? A simple thing, dude. Just doing a simple thing of picking something up, they'll fucking harass you about it. Now, that's just an extremely rudimentary example of what's reported to be occurring through this crime. Absolutely. The victim, see, what you understand when you research gang stalking, remote neural monitoring, extensively, there's hundreds of lawsuits written about this. There's thousands of blogs about it. Oh, absolutely. It's even been covered on national radio shows, folks. Oh, absolutely. Hold on. Excuse me. And basically, and there's many motives for this, too. So, when you research the chatterbox, voice to skull technology, remote neural monitoring, gang stalking crimes, and you gotta have the attitude. You gotta have a mature adult investigative posture. That's the type of mental posture you have to have, and it's got to be a patient posture, because you got to do extensive research in order to see. Oh man, trust me, the lawsuits alone, okay, concerning victims being harassed through voice to skull. Oh, absolutely. Which is only one feature of what's happening through voice to skull, by the way. Absolutely. So now you need to know that voice to skull also has a identical twin sister of its type of technology, which is called ELF broadcasting. Now, ELF broadcasting is where the victim will still experience voice to skull, but they'll experience voice to skull in concerning what is transmitted to the victim for the victim to hear. So, voice to skull, the regular voice to skull, happens directly to the head, and it bypasses the ears, and it goes directly to the auditory cortex, and only the victim can hear it. Now that's got to do with the animals who commit this crime. It's reported that the way they do it, concerning why only the victim can hear it, is because basically what they've done is they have deciphered the biomagnetic resonance frequency of that victim's particular brain. Each human being's biomagnetic resonance frequency is unique, just like your fingerprints are. And once they have got that figured out, they're able to then send an offset carrier auditorial wave, okay, to that specific brain. It bypasses the ear, goes directly into the auditory cortex. It's bone conduction. Okay? Now, I know that's a lot to chew on for people who don't know anything about this crime, and I know it's probably going to be initially very hard for you to believe, but trust me, there's hundreds and hundreds of lawsuits about this all over the internet. Books are written about it. Tens of thousands of posts are all over the internet about it. Scientists are discussing it, professors, lawyers, and much more. So just trust me, folks, it's happening. It's been repeatedly covered on national radio shows, too. Oh, absolutely. These demented bastards who host this crime, just trust me, the patents about this technology are even on the internet. But you should also know, many of the patents that are on the internet concerning the different technologies that these animals rely on, there's an extreme likelihood a lot of these patents have fake patent dates, which could that mean then that these technologies have actually been around a lot longer than their posted patent dates. Okay. Oh, absolutely. So ELF broadcasting is identical. So regular voice to skull is where the acoustic harassment and even different things that they can do with voice to skull, like force victims to hear looped music of sections of songs, tones and other things. Okay. And just other dumb, stupid shit that these animals will record and then send to the victim. Now, that's heard directly in the skull through bone conduction, bypassing the ears. ELF broadcasting is the same exact technology, except for what is sent to the victim will be heard in the environment while it's simultaneously heard in the head. So it's basically the same technology, it's just being perpetrated in a slightly different way. And to give you an example about this, and only the victim can hear it. So give you an example about this. If you were sitting at a bus stop and you heard a fire truck siren go by about a block away, that sound travels very fast. Now, as a result of sound traveling very fast, hold on a second. As a result of sound traveling very fast, and because you got to remember, sound travels, and there's a mathematical formula connected to the distance between where the sound is originating from and how long it takes for it to get to you. Okay? Now, so say you're at a bus stop, and you're just sitting there waiting for the bus, and you hear a fire truck siren go by a block away. Now, that siren is going to be very loud, and since sound travels pretty fast, the way you're hearing it from the truck, you're going to simultaneously hear it through your ears, which is open air conduction, through your ears, and then it's going to be processed at 200 milliseconds per second into your auditory cortex. So when you think about that, because everybody can relate to hearing a fire truck siren, right? Okay, hold on. Pardon me. Excuse me. Like you're hearing the sound of my voice right now. You're hearing it from either your computer, your tablet, your phone. So that audio is coming out of your device, and it's traveling through the air, and it's going through your ear through open air conduction, and then it's going directly to your auditory cortex while you're still hearing me say it in real time. So that's a great example of how you can understand ELF broadcasting. So in other words, you're hearing something in the environment while you're simultaneously hearing it in your auditory cortex, except only the victim can hear it. because it's still voice-to-skull technology, except for regular voice-to-skull technology is where they send it directly to the auditory cortex, which bypasses the ear and goes directly to the auditory cortex. It's bone conduction, okay, but only the victim hears it because it's been the acoustic wave that they're sending, whatever they're sending through on the acoustic wave, is being sent as an offset carrier wave on the biomagnetic resonance frequency that there is. So it's got to do a little bit with, I think, either microwave and or radio frequency, all depending on what system they're using. I don't know if the microwave hearing effect can be set as an offset carrier wave on a radio frequency. There is a Google patent for a radio frequency hearing system. Okay, but I don't want to get too technical into all that, even though it's really not that technical once you start diving into the research. But the point being is that voice-to-skull, whether it be voice-to-skull directly to the auditory cortex, or voice-to-skull that is experienced as a result of ELF broadcasting, which is where you hear the sound in the environment while you're simultaneously hearing it in the head. Okay? And that's done for a whole slew of different reasons. Now, you might think to yourself, okay, so here's the subject matter. I had to give you that educational knowledge so you can see how it folds into the rest of the statements I'm going to make in this, at least the first 2 or 3 videos of this video series. So let's say you're a victim of this crime, and by the way, when you're a victim of this crime, you can be a victim of a whole slew of crimes. A whole slew. Oh, absolutely. But what's going to be discussed in this video series is just going to be one set of crimes that a victim is experiencing that I'm personally aware of. Some of it can absolutely be proven. Oh, absolutely. Concerning like proving it to the public. But as far as being able to prove it in an uncorrupted judicial process is a fucking joke. Because the courts are nothing but organized crime. They're meat grinders for the system. Absolutely. You're not allowed to prove it through law enforcement because they're completely owned by these wild animals. And you can't prove any type of ear implant that could be assisting in any of this. Oh, absolutely. Even though an ear implant is not needed. But if you have an ear implant, any type of auditory implant in you, which is another widely reported thing occurring in this crime, even an ear implant can assist this. And voice-to-skull can also be set as reported to be, forms of voice-to-skull. Can be like if you're experiencing voice-to-skull through a radio frequency, that can go directly to an ear implant if the ear implant has an antenna on it. So there's other mediums and carriers for voice-to-skull, but so far in this video I've only talked to you about the microwave hearing effect. Okay, all right. Now let me catch my breath for a second here. Bear with me. God. All right. All right, you wouldn't believe what I've been through today, folks. You literally wouldn't believe it. Absolutely. Let me get a drink of water. So, let's say if you're a victim who would be enduring voice-to-skull directly to the head, including, by the way, voice-to-skull with voice morphine. I'll talk to you about what voice-to-skull with voice morphine either in the second video or the third one, and so then you can take that section of information and fold it back onto what I've already exposed so far in this video. Okay? It's just basically another, an additional way they use voice-to-skull, and it's extremely, extremely dangerous, because this is then where we get into literal thought control for behavioral manipulation, where they can, and it's reported all over the internet that they're using voice-to-skull with voice morphine to set victims up for multiple hundreds of crimes. Oh, absolutely, including staged rapes, staged arrest, and much more. So, let me get some water here, because I gotta try and relax my stomach. Bear with me a second. Alright, so let's say if you're a gang-stalking target who's got, now, this is part of the exposure of this video series, so it's a little bit, it's additional information. So listen carefully. Let's say if you're a gang-stalking victim who's got one or more auditory implants in you. Just hear me out, and they would obviously be non-consensually, without the victim's consent or even knowledge that they're there. And there's many different types of auditory implants, and one victim can even have up to 6 different auditory implants in them. Middle eardrum implants, because each implant has its own separate motive or motives concerning why it's put there. Okay? So, there's middle eardrum implants. These are all auditory implants. Middle eardrum implants, regular cochlear implants, all cochlear implants and all cochlear implants at least would be the type that would have a Wi-Fi antenna on them. And you can research cochlear implants that have antennas on them, so you can do enough research concerning that. All right, which makes them remotely accessible, absolutely. So you got regular cochlear implants. Hold on. And then you have bone conduction cochlear implants. You can also have midbrain auditory implants. Okay, brainstem auditory implants. And there's also certain types of acoustic implants that can be put in the gums, the nasal passage. And so for right now, I guess that's really enough concerning discussing with you how many different types of auditory implants could be in play in this extreme, barbaric, demonic, criminally insane program. Hold on, I gotta sneeze. So since I started making this video, I've yawned at least 3 times. I burped, and now I'm sneezing. Now I know that sounds funny. Trust me, there's a reason for me saying that. Maybe if when you see my wideband videos, just be patient. And when you see my wideband videos, I got some already made. And when I make future ones, as long as I remember to mention my future ones, you might understand if those 3 statements that I just made are relevant or not. Just trust me, folks. That's all I can say for right now, because I don't want to go into a long, detailed explanation concerning why it was stated. All right, now, so let's say if you're a victim who's got specific types of auditory implants, which can also be used for voice-to-skull technology, including voice-to-skull, voice morphing. Voice-to-skull, there's an acronym for voice-to-skull. It's called V2K. Okay? So you can be enduring the chatterbox. Okay? Extreme criminal harassment, which has also got more than one motive behind it. Okay, through your left ear. Now, you can then be experiencing selected different oscillating tones in your right ear. You can also be experiencing a crime that is perpetrated more than likely also through ELF, which is called frequency phasing, where the target will hear fluctuating electrical sounds in their environment. Okay? And this is where it gets a little tricky, but it's happening. Just trust me, it's happening. You can also be experiencing what sounds like a loud amplifier in your environment, and I'm still trying to figure out what that would be done for. More than likely because you're still hearing a sound from that. It's like a bass hum sound. It literally even sounds a little bit like weird magnetic sound. And from what I've been able to determine so far, what that type of sound would be connected to is probably a massive sound amplifier, okay, which has pressure dB SPLs connected to it. Now, when you start seeing me unpack some more information, you might think to yourself, okay, maybe I can see why that's brought up. It's definitely in play. Okay. Remember, these animals don't walk up to victims and tell victims what's specifically in play. Okay, what's being used. Okay, or why. You got to figure it out. That's why us victims have to stay vigilant in our research. So you can be experiencing verbal harassment, okay, even fluctuating sounds. Let's just talk about verbal harassment. You can be experiencing specific verbal harassment through the chatterbox, through your left ear. You can also be experiencing fluctuating electrical frequency sounds directly to the ear and or through ELF, which means you're hearing that in the environment while you're also simultaneously hearing it in your ear. And that's a little bit more of a technical issue. I personally think that the fluctuating electrical sound is nothing but another form. I call it frequency phasing, which is just literally, from right now, what I can discern from it is just another form of, it's just another form of why the tones would be used, but it might also be one other thing connected to it, which I'm not going to talk about right now because I don't have enough educated knowledge for me to, I got some vague ideas concerning another reason why it might have to do with frequency phasing and frequency deciphering. Once it goes through the ear mechanism of the ear, it then goes to them, and then maybe something might be occurring concerning tell you what, hold on. I got to catch my breath because my stomach's starting to hurt. Just bear with me, okay? Yeah, I got to catch my breath, so just bear with me a second, okay? So frequency phasing will be discussed later, okay? All right, so the victim can be enduring repetitive, identical abuses, okay, through the chatterbox in the left ear, and they can be experiencing fluctuating multi-tone tone streams through the right ear, which is definitely an automated system. So and then the victim can also be enduring, okay, frequency phasing through one or both ears at any given time, okay, through ELF, okay, which their tape recorders are picking up just white noise in general, because ELF is extremely hard to record on tape recorders. Now, I have been pretty successful in recording some things in my environment, okay, that match with what I have not been, on rare occasion I have picked up this oscillating multi-tone streams that are in my environment. I just caught it the other day, by the way, and I discovered that I caught it accidentally on one of my tape recorders, absolutely. You should also know, and I'm not afraid to say it, at multiple businesses, I have caught tones coming out of fans and different things. Hold on a second. I have caught tones coming. Yeah, I was gonna say something to a bird that just landed very close by me, but I said forget that. So I have caught tones coming from different fans and other types of things that are in the environment at multiple businesses and at bus stops. As crazy as this sounds, you're just going to have to trust me for now, folks. Trust me. So let me just give you a very fast statement here. My Sound Spectrum Analyzer app has picked up this automated system when it comes to the multiple tones that are being constantly heard to my right, including no matter what direction my right ear is in. Now, I already know there's like a 99% chance that, because think about this. If you're in a wooded area, okay, and you're hearing oscillating tones, which are basically just different tones being played at the same time. And so it's just like where you're hearing a bunch of different tones at the same time, so it sounds like an oscillating tone. And it's happening really fast. My Sound Spectrum Analyzer app has picked it up every single time, at least 120 of my 190 hiking areas that I have moved back into and from since 2019. Identical to a T, it has picked it up, including when there's no sounds in the environment that the audio of the camera app is picking up, or my tape recorder picking up, which means that it's an automated system. Now, that you'll understand all that when you see those types of videos. Completely understand it, because you'll witness it. You'll literally witness it. Okay? Now, no, I just lost my train of thought, so bear with me a second. Let me go back and do a reset here. Okay, so now the tones, when I turn my head, like say right now, like let's say if my right ear right now is facing a road, okay, that's quite a distance away, but it's still facing it. If I was to turn my right ear to, so let's say if the direction it's facing right now, let's assume that that's west. So if I was to then turn my head where my right ear would face north, the